welcome to the Intimate Breath podcast. My name is Lore, and here we have intimate conversations, personal stories, and interviews about anything related to intimacy and sexuality. And this is in a broad sense of the word sexuality, not only in the bedroom, but just how do we live from a connection to our own body, to our boundaries, to our desires, and really create from that space. So welcome here, and today I am here with Lisa. She has been earlier on the podcast as well, sharing her abortion story and also her experience being at the gynecologist and how consent was there experienced. And this time we are diving into the theme of playing with desires, rewriting inner stories, so a way of reconditioning and playing with reconditioning in a very fun way. So Lisa and I have been sharing many moments in different settings where desires have been lived out, expressed, or explored in a group setting, mainly in group settings, but also in duo or smaller groups. And in this episode, you're going to hear some of our experiences and what it has meant for us, how it has been to share this with other people that maybe have very different desires than we would initially ask for, and why it has been so valuable for us to create those moments intentionally. And of course, this is a big part of my turn on, but also what I'm offering nowadays in my work. Especially, I have 2 weekend retreats coming up. Both are called the Sacred Desire Playground. There's one 27th to 29th of October in Sweden, and then there's one in Belgium, February 2nd to 4th. So this is to also just give you a little bit of an inside look what this is really about, for us at least, and maybe for you it is about something else. The weekends are for people that already have some experience in Tantra, maybe in BDSM, that are not new when it comes to consent work and exploring these themes in a group setting. So if you're ready to take a next step and to really expand your comfort zone and explore how desires can also bring more depth in your emotional life, in your relational life, please go ahead and reach out. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and please let me know. I'm so eager to get a message from you, or just see the rating on whatever podcast app you are listening on. Super valuable to get your feedback. Here we go. Hey Lisa, I'm really excited to sit here with you and talk about desires. And I think for me, where I want to start is just how much I enjoy exploring my desires even before I want to act on them. Just finding out, where is my aliveness, what excites me, what is it that I really want. There's such a power in that, and it really enlivens me to talk about them and to brainstorm about them, regardless whether they're work-related, romantic, sexually, or anything else. I'm curious how that is for you, Lisa. Have you been playing with that outside of workshops?
Yeah, definitely. And it's so much easier when you have like the playground, when that's like explicitly what you're doing, that it just kind of pops up in life. Like also just the normal conversations, like, we usually say blob, like, can I just talk and you just listen now? Or, can you just hold my hand for a moment? or like, can you tell me it's okay that I'm crying now, or like to ask for all these things that I desire in a really explicit way, not having to tiptoe around what I want. So I would say it's that it just becomes like infiltrate life. It infiltrates life in small ways, and then also in like in more specific ways that I can like gather my friends to either celebrate things that I want to celebrate, or like witness me in transitions, help me to share somehow what I need to be witnessed or have shared in that moment. Like, so I would say it's playing out in my life by itself, just having these moments every here and there in workshops where I train, because it's a skill, I would say.
I was so bad in knowing what I wanted, and I remember the first time when I got the question, how would you like to be touched, or how would you like to touch me for your pleasure? These are like the main questions of the Wheel of Consent. It took me minutes to feel what I actually wanted to ask, and now, as you say, it's like it's so easy to forget how ingrained it is already in like just letting each other know how we want to be met in something that we share. Like, can you just share a reflection? Can you only listen? I don't even need something back. Or can you tell me that it is okay for me to be this or feel that? Or so to be so specific in these things. And when you say it's like little things, they are little, but they actually feel really big when I'm like being with someone who doesn't have that yet. It feels so much harder to know how to meet them.
It's easy to get used to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say the skill is, for me, has also been learning how it's like the journey itself of making the inquiry of what do I actually want right now, what do I desire, and that there can be like, there's no straight road. Like, the point isn't that I will find what it like immediately feels good, but just that I'm open to explore and to voice my explorations, and like, do I want this? Okay, let's try that. Okay, no, it wasn't exactly that, but can you keep your hand there and do this with your other hand and tell me this at the same time? Like, to be open, it's like opening to the flood of my own small voices from the body, because I also recognize it in my personal life now with the baby and not having a partner, that I don't have so much intimacy. So being in an intimate space, someone asking me, how can I touch you? It's like there's a more than knowing what touch I want. It's being open for the flow of my body telling me what feels good, and just following along somehow, and being open for that changing or taking a new route or stopping or running or like in what it's telling me. I mean.
And I feel like clarifying, or I don't know exactly if you're talking about this, but when I listen to you now, I'm reminded of the evenings that we sometimes have where each of us gets 10-15 minutes maybe to request to anyone else that's there for certain ways of touching or talking or moving or whatever it is that you want from them, and having that only for yourself, and in a way also being completely responsible for your own experience, because no one else is just gonna do something to you or take initiative. And if someone would ask me now, like, what do you want for the coming 15 minutes? That's a hard one to feel. And then when I listen to you, it's like, but where do I want to start? And then every minute it can become something else, or it can fine tune to what
I'm nodding my head.
Yeah.
It doesn't show, but
Yeah.
I'm nodding. Yeah.
And in a way, it's like that's like a practice ground or a playground. It's also just really fun, but it's also what I hear you do and me do in life, like in the bigger picture.
And I mean, sometimes that door closes, and just having a workshop or like a moment with a friend, it's so helpful to step away from that conversation or from that moment or from that hour that we share, and feel how it just like immediately flows into all other situations in life.
I have the same anytime I'm facilitating a workshop around this as well. It's like there's at least one bolder request that I make afterwards to someone that I didn't make before. It's like I feel that, like I'm in touch with that, like just, what do I want and do I dare to ask for it? Yeah.
So nice you get that out of your own workshop. It feels so nice to hear. Yeah.
Do you want to share a bit more about these? I imagine that like transition moments or being witnessed in or celebrated in something that it's a bit vague maybe, and I would love to hear some example.
So one moment was I chose to have a belly blessing instead of a baby blessing because I wanted it for myself, and so I created this space where I invited a lot of humans that I enjoy, mostly that I enjoy dancing with, and I asked for these humans to tell me. I mean, one part of the gathering was hearing what I needed to hear for my birth from other people's mouths, and having the touch that I wanted at the same time, like having my name said in different ways, sang in different ways, asking these humans to shake their butt for me for the birth in a certain way, like, and it's just such a I've really started to find the yumminess in gathering people, and the intention is already there that it's for me. Like, that's such a gift that someone shows up. So that was a really like happy event, one could say. But I've also used it in, like, now recently I used it as a transition for my last relationship, of being both like hearing other share loving memories with this person that I still really love, and sharing that love, like being helped in seeing and acknowledging everything that has been really loving and fulfilling, but also being witnessed in a letting go, and in an acceptance, I guess, and inviting for something different. And like, because I can do that a million times in my head every day, but sharing that with two friends, it just, yeah, it's like it's like weaving in something materialistic into the thoughts somehow, or into the patterns that I have in my emotional life. Like, it just makes more of a, it helps.
Yeah, it's really like a desire that pops up in you that enables you to create your own rituals that just feel very natural to you in like the moment where you're at. Or would you?
Yeah, I would say it's like it helped me to, in a sense, create what maybe some people would call like a ceremony or a ritual, but it's so easy. Like, it's so, because I think before, for me, like, a ceremony was something that maybe I would like learn from someone else and implement it in my life. And now I feel like I know how to recreate those spaces for myself when I really need them. Like I guess like I wouldn't have known if it wasn't the time. But when it's the time for that ceremony, my whole self just knows what is needed, who is needed, and what is needed, which is a really cool self-care skill that it feels so good to trust that.
I'm reminded of a moment where last year it was weeks after a breakup, and I haven't been in like women's circles for a while now. I haven't felt that longing to be only with people with vaginas, or and then it just came so strongly to like the longing to be with people that also have a womb and that have a cervix. And I was struggling to feeling how much I was still with that like child longing towards my ex, and it felt really like it was in my womb. And maybe this is a bit weird for some people to understand, where like maybe it's too energetic or too, but it really felt like he was there. And it was so special for me to feel so clearly the longing of like, I want to be with some people now that also have a womb, and I want to reconnect together with them to that part of my body and kind of own it with their help, and to just feel the longing a little bit out of nowhere and just send the messages and just create that. And just like you say, it's like maybe there's some format of like conscious uncoupling ceremonies or rituals, or but this just comes completely out of myself because I'm in touch with what I want, what I need in that moment. And it's so easy to just create when I dare to trust that my longing can also be valuable for those that I invite. And I think that's a big one, that because I have been in others, their desire things, and I have felt how powerful it is for me to be in them, that I dare to trust that I have the longing, I can create this, and it can be super valuable for those that step into it, for me, but also for themselves. I think that trust has been a big one for me.
It's true. It really takes trust in other humans to invite to do something only. I mean, only in exclamation. Is this an exclamation?
No, in
2 fingers.
Oh God, I don't know the English word.
Anyway. It's a bunny fingers. Like to do something only for me, and trusting that this is something valuable also for these people. And like many, I'm also thinking that since it ripples out for me and I'm sharing other people's transition times, it's been rippling out for me also as only a participant, that it's something really valuable for the community around also. Like someone voicing their needs we're all humans in a sense. So I feel like even the times when I haven't been able to fully relate to the exact situation someone else is going through, like I can relate to loss, I can relate to longing, I can relate to like all these like basic human feelings of like going through rituals with other people's stories of how these emotions get moved. It's so like it's relieving isn't the right word, but like it's expanding also for me as a participant, and almost in a sense liberating of not having to like make something that fits everyone in the group, that it is specific, like it is for this person. And maybe there's 2 desires at the same time when you have a group, right? And they can actually fit together, which is a beautiful example of how things like stories kind of play into each other sometimes, but it's like these basic emotions that wants to be seen and moved and felt in the presence of only one other person or a group.
Yeah. And I've definitely had the experience of, and now I'm like, my mind goes to the intentional desire playgrounds where I've been in, where there's a group that's really like wanting to go deeper in expanding their comfort zone, finding new parts of themselves, and really living that in the safety of a group that wants to join them in that and support them in that. And then also rescripting or rewriting stories. And I would love to share some concrete examples of that. But I wanted to say now that I've definitely been witnessing or being part of some desires that I really didn't feel so much when I heard what they wanted. Like I didn't, as you say, like I didn't relate so much to like one person that experienced a lot of war inside of them and really wanted to lift that outside of them somehow, or one person that just was struggling with a lot of body shame in another way than I have been experiencing, and then being in those desires, meeting them in the way that they're requesting, has every time brought something new in me that I didn't know about. Like, I'm trying to find an example. Like the war thing got me in touch with the one in me that loves to hurt, but also the one in me that's scared of people liking to hurt. Like I was like just experiencing different parts of me that I haven't been so much in touch with in that way. And so that was super valuable for me, and I'm still thinking back of that even though it's a year ago. Even though that desire was initially not something that I thought I would get something out by participating in.
Do you want to share, you were just saying how you have also used these like intentional spaces with the group, I'm assuming, or with one or two more people, to rescript?
Yeah. Which one do I do first? Well, I want to... one of them...
What is rescripting for you?
Yeah.
You just wanna...
Yeah, thank you. Rescripting for me is like, we have this programming inside of us. We've been learning so much just by growing up. For example, don't be too loud. Or learning to, like, not having death integrated in life. Like, avoiding that because that's how you grew up. Like, these kind of things. And I'm giving examples now to what I've been working with. And actually creating a new experience that is maybe very similar to what you've experienced before. Imagine you had a trauma where you got touched in a certain way that you really didn't want to. A rescripting could be that you actually choose for that with the people that you want and in the way that you want. And you're rewriting that story, kind of creating a new experience, but this time by choice, this time with people that you trust. And maybe the old feelings can come up, but there are also new feelings attached to it. And it's really like retraining your system in a way. And you can do that in many different ways. And in a way, you're doing that all the time. As you're living in your, like, if you're a little bit busy with personal development and maybe like trying to get rid of some bad habits and add some good habits, like, it's all the time a rescripting that you're doing. But I'm really a fan of making time for that in a like condensed way. And I also asked that for my birthday party. I gathered people that I knew already had some experience in being in these kind of spaces, being also in like sex positive spaces, so that there wouldn't come up like too much stuff around that. Like if it's the first time, there it can be challenging in certain ways to be exposed to, you know, other people making out very close to you, or nudity, or so there was people that are already very used to that.
And I'm assuming like if you want to rescript something, for example, about voice and feeling welcome and feeling allowed in relation to if I would want to do that in relation to my sexuality, I guess I would also make sure to invite people that I know will be able to support me in that and not have too much of their own rescripting to do at the same time as I'm rescripting somehow.
Yeah. And of course it can be there. I guess what is most important now for this birthday, I wanted to be with people that I know can hold themselves to a certain degree, even if they feel a little bit challenged. Yeah, and so one example was that I asked to be pleasured in a certain way. And I wanted to be really like expressive, really loud with my voice and just go for it and move my body exactly as I wanted, even though there are people around. And I asked to help me in that. I asked the group to join me in the same intensity as it was building up. And it worked out a little bit different because at some point everyone was directed towards me instead of doing their own thing around me, which is what I initially imagined. But yeah, I think I already feel quite free in sounding, usually. And still, this was a desire that came up quite strongly. So there's more there that I want to feel free in or liberate in. And then to experience this in the group and actually go there with a little bit of like needing some courage, a little bit of fear. It's so powerful to then afterwards notice the wave of shame that just comes very irrationally. Like I wouldn't have expected it even so strongly. But to then be surrounded by people that I feel really loved by and that are just there and ready to hear what I need. And I also had worry about certain people feeling overwhelmed. And what I needed in that moment was to have a check-in and just hear everyone's experience. Even if that wouldn't be reassuring, just to check, like a reality check, basically.
That what you were feeling was coherent.
Yeah. And that felt really grounding, and I felt myself like by every person I heard sharing, like come back from like very woo, like up there in like woo, like I can't think clearly anymore, like grounding down to the floor. So that's one example of rescripting with consent of everyone around, to search that edge that I felt in myself.
And I think you're naming something that is like coming back to the trust that we were talking about before, which actually comes down to, at least for me, like knowing exactly what you were saying, knowing that I trust that everyone in here can hold themselves.
Yeah.
To take care of themselves, in a sense, which doesn't mean that they're not rescripting in the same moment as I am, because that actually probably happens simultaneously. But that other people's around me transcription doesn't become overwhelming or too much, or
that I can trust that they will ask for what they need afterwards. Like, yeah, also. Do you have an example
of rescripting? I mean, in a sense, I would say most of the times when I have been using this only for like inviting it for myself, it's been about inviting something new, maybe. Like some kind of transformation, which even if it's not clear what it is that I want to like off script or like how to phrase it, it's definitely something new. Like, for example, with the belly blessing, like it was like scripting how amazing this birth was gonna be, right? Or like with the name ceremony, for that wasn't for me but for my son, it's like painting a love story in his name, right? For everything that we want him to carry with him in his life. So it's not a rescript really from something that has been, but more of a like invitations.
Well, I think it's still a rescript because you have images of movies and of stories of how birth probably is, and then you are so good in inviting the whole group on that belly blessing to share in duos. How does your dream birth look like? And then like inviting them to give that back to you also while you're laying there, and everyone is like, you know, like showering their dream birth on top of you, so you're really infused with all those words. So in a way it is also rescripting from whatever unconscious image you had
of birth. Yeah. With birth I would definitely say it was a rescription.
Yeah.
Yeah. With the name ceremony, not so. I don't know what I would call that. You know, like if you have ideas of all the horrible things that can happen to your kids, so we're just gonna like shower him with love. But I felt like it didn't really come from a place of, at least not consciously, from a place of thinking of all the bad things that could happen and rescripting that into the good.
No.
So I think there's definitely the moments where I realize there's patterns in me and I don't want to bring them. Like, for example, with a transition in relationship, for example, that I'm like, I feel done thinking or, you know, like relating to this thing in this way, and I need help to like remake my relation to how I relate to this person or to this love. And then it's definitely a rescript of like maybe how I see another person, how I see our relationship, how I want to interact with it. And then when it comes to, I'm thinking about like more group sessions where it's been like this condensed, intentional space. A lot of the times I think it's been around like shameful. I mean, both you and Grace have also been amazing in like helping everyone to kind of access these things that might be shameful.
Feel shameful,
sorry, of course. Smack me on the butt. Yeah. Feel shameful. Because they kind of hold desires also of reliving that in reliving some story, but like without the shame, reliving the same story, but with a lot of like acceptance and love and maybe even pleasure in there. And so, and I mean, sexuality for me has been holding a lot of shameful, like, don't be too loud, for example, like don't ask for too much, like give more than you receive, and like always be always kind of be ready to meet the other person. Like I can't lose myself too much, or maybe lose myself is the wrong word, but somehow like I don't let go too much.
Yeah.
And so all of these things have definitely been like it's a very supportive space to access what has felt shameful before and see, can I relive this in a way that feels held and supported, and maybe orgasmic.
Yeah, and there I like there comes in like what I believe to be the healing power of pleasure or desires, like where our turn on is, where we have a lot of energy for, I believe is what brings wholesomeness to us. And so I just have the belief that we all our like subconsciously want to grow towards wholesomeness. We want to integrate all parts, like everything that we've been pushing away or suppressed, or that isn't fully like, that is part of us but we don't recognize it as a part of us. I believe that our desires and our pleasure, if we're really listening to it, will help us to like bring it back to us, or heal or expand or grow, or so also those shameful parts or painful parts, and then beyond that also just how we flourish. Like, how do you decide which new project you're taking on in your job? It's like, in the best scenario, it's what excites you most. I'm really excited about this topic. Yeah. I would love to share the second desire I brought in on my birthday. It was a bit more vulnerable. So the months before this birthday celebration happened, I also had some quite intense therapy sessions. And there I really got to see my fear of how things can end, how relationships can end. And I think we've both been confronted by that even more last winter, with someone very close to us getting the news of brain cancer. And I think part of the starting the therapy was me still also integrating all the ripple effects of that in our relationship also, and so I could really see through the therapy more and more how avoiding that fact that life has a beginning and an ending, and everything has a beginning and an ending, that avoidance has also been keeping me from really daring to stand fully in things. And it may sound weird, but my longing on my birthday was to actually really meet that very real with those friends that were there. And I also realized that I was still holding on to some exes of mine or past friends in a way that is not serving me, like they're not really in my life anymore. And still I'm like keeping space, or I was keeping space in my heart, and it created less space for the people that are really here. And so I asked if everyone that wanted to join could step towards me one by one and say something in the sense of like, we're really close now, and one day we might go different paths, or one day one of us might die, or whatever it is that came to them. And I also had some pictures with me from those exes that I was still holding on to, and my friends, like some of them, represented one of those people. And then every time when someone was in front of me and had spoken, they went behind me until the whole group was behind me, and I didn't see them anymore, but I could like practice feeling them still there, like their presence. So that was a very emotional desire, like not really what people would call sexual or erotic. But it was so incredibly valuable for me to do this in this setting and to really meet that fear. And then afterwards to feel, when we were standing in a circle and my friend was suggesting to hold hands, and I could feel how I couldn't look at anybody and how there was actually beyond the sadness that I felt, there was actually anger. And I was like, why would I even invest in you now if you're leaving anyway? And I was really feeling that stronger in that moment. And I had never realized that that's something underneath there that is probably playing out under the surface anyway, a bit in everything that I do. How was that for you to be in that?
It was very touching. Speaking about what we spoke about before, how, like, even if you don't recognize yourself in a story, there's usually some kind of basic human emotion within that story that your nervous system and, this human life can relate to, or you as a human being can relate to. And the story of goodbye, I think, is so, I mean, at least for me, it's very close by. And it was so, I mean, I couldn't even tell you the words of I might be leaving when I could just say, hello, I'm Lisa. I was crying so much that I couldn't speak.
I think I said, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's such a beautiful example of how, like, what your need and your desire was in that moment could be so healing for a whole group. And you hadn't checked in before, like, is there someone else that has this, like, maybe we should choose this need. It was just also because it was your birthday, right? So it was just clear we were gonna do this, but it really had an effect on the whole group. And I'm also thinking about, like, what you were saying, how you accessed, like, an actual anger, and how it can also show that doing these things, like, maybe it won't directly lead us to, like, oh, orgasmic relaxation, I feel so good, everything is all healed, but it's like a step along the way. As in asking for what you want, it's like it's also like with sex, right? We like, I'm not in it only for the orgasm, and then it's like gonna be explosions and roses for the rest of my life. Like, it's a live process of, it's gonna move me maybe to another layer on the onion, to something else, like to more of myself. And it's it at least for me, like, it's a practice to actually receive that. And with grace somehow, and not feel like, damn it, I wanted to feel so good after this emotional release that I had. Like, sometimes I can feel like that, like, I've had my emotional release, now shouldn't I be feeling flowery? Like, where's my afterglow? And how, I mean, I guess it can be both, that you're still surrounded by a group of people. For me, it's supportive to also see that we're all peeling off the onion somehow. Like, because I feel that, at least in my experience, everyone was really touched by that desire that you shared with us, and it left everyone feeling something.
Yeah, for themselves.
Yeah. And for you, it was anger. For someone else, it was like maybe frustration. And for another person, it was like, I just need to be like, no one look at me. I just need to be alone and go out for like 5 minutes, you know? And another person needed touch for you. It like really, it was such a beautiful example of how, you know, you peel off one layer that was like somehow everyone got help from you to peel off that layer. But then everyone kind of needed something different for 10 minutes. To have like aftercare, which is I think a little bit what these like intentional group spaces does. Like maybe you peel a few layers together, but then everyone needs their aftercare somehow. Maybe you can actually create that in the space too.
Yeah, sure. It's just in this setting, everyone felt free to go outside or have a dip but it's really like with the example of the anger that I felt now, for some reason I haven't felt safe or comfortable enough to feel that anger before, and to then be in that group of, you know, people that for me symbolize love and support is like learning that it's okay to feel that anger, and that it's safe to feel that anger, like or whatever someone else is feeling also.
I think that this is a really beautiful example of how desire playgrounds, that I don't know if you would call it that, but it doesn't need to be all sexual, or it doesn't need to be all like it's orgasmic in its own way somehow. Yeah, it's like emotional orgasms a little bit.
I mean, when I'm talking about like orgasmic breath work, I also often clarify it as like it's not orgasmic in the sense of like it's gonna be flowery and bliss. It's orgasmic in the sense of all of life is welcomed and included, and the whole emotional spectrum as well. And for me, that is actually what orgasmic means, like the full spectrum of aliveness, including that in and welcoming that in your experience. And I think in that sense that felt orgasmic for me, but it's a bit a broad sense of the word for most people. But there was definitely like I felt myself way bigger than a few hours before.
I have a curiosity now speaking about this with you. Like, when was your first connection or contact or clarification of like what you were doing? Like, what you would now call like a sacred playground, and asking like a desire playground? Like, when did it become clear for you? Was it like a happening when you experienced it yourself, or did you experience someone else's desire, and when it became clear like, wow, this is something I want to do more or work with? Or
it was actually I think it was called Desire Midwives, and it was part of a training that I did, and a friend of mine who introduced it. And it was a very different format. It was way more planned ahead, and people writing on letters what they want. And then the Desire Midwives asking the people that would be involved. And it's more like a theater. Like there's a whole group watching and witnessing, and some are in the middle, 2 or 5 or and so it's a different format. And it was so powerful to me.
what about it was powerful?
I just feel so alive witnessing people in what feels really dear to them. Or no, well, witnessing people exploring their edge, or in all the vulnerability. Like the requests that were made were not just like little fantasies that, oh, I would like to do that. Like it was like, I mean, the desire midwives also chose the ones that were most like touching them to read. So I felt just really, really alive and so connected to everyone there. Like so much togetherness to support each other's flourishment.
So it was actually witnessing others more than having your own desire.
It was more witnessing others because I had a desire in there, but that was not the most impactful moment. Actually, the most impactful moment was, I don't know where this person was from. I think it wasn't Russia, but like that kind of language. And that person asked for other people to be like German soldiers and pin her down and kind of like assault her, but then in a pleasurable way. And that there would be, and then there were even like a few of them just like soldiering around like with like German words, and it was so comical and also so at the same time so touching and so deep. And I think so many of us are still having the remnants of war inside of us, like our grandparents and our, like they all lived it. So it was really like also touching the whole group, and yet we could laugh, like just a mixture of all of it. That's just one example, but they really stayed with me. I think that's something that you're also really good in, is like when there's a little bit of a uncomfortable emotion, to just go more into it until it becomes humorous or like, you know, exaggerated. And I think that's one way of finding acceptance or finding, like, navigating it. And I really enjoy that in you. Yeah.
I'm thinking about how you have once in a workshop used the word desire midwife.
Have I?
I don't know if it came from the same...
Probably.
But then we were in couples. And so if we were in one couple, we heard each other's desires, and I would be like your sidekick somehow. Like when we would present to the group what desires there were. And so I would also be like your wing person. Wing person. Maybe that was the word you were using. Just to give an example that somehow like, because sometimes it's also like, especially when it's the first times, it can be really challenging to not only voice it for another person, but then to voice it for a whole group. Like, and it was just such a nourishing feeling also to support someone else so closely, like really wing someone else's desire.
Yeah. Yeah, we use that in the weekends also. It's a really, like, because you already feel, like, even if you don't know that person from before, it's like, you already, like, are in a team. Like,
it's your person. Like, yeah. And it also invites to, like, you know, I can be the wingman for my friend. Like, I want to be the wingman for my friends, right? And it's a really awesome friendship practice.
Yeah.
Really basic and a really nice one.
One more thing that comes up for me is recently I was blobbing to you again in an audio message after I had seen someone from many years ago. And I'm going to say a bit more about it, but what you gave back to me is like, wow, I love how you, I don't know how you phrase it, but I love how you're having your desired playgrounds, or like those intentional moments, but then in daily life. And I hadn't thought of it before like that, but it really was a re-scripting that felt super powerful for me. when I was 17, I was just madly in love with this man. Or like, yeah, I don't know, boy, man. And it was one of the first like sexual relationships I had, and so a lot went wrong, and I really went over my own boundaries. I was pleasing so hard, and I was really not being honest about how he was meeting me or not meeting me, or asking clearly for what I needed to feel safe, or any of that. And now after more than 8 years, I met again with him, and I could feel that there was still so much emotions, like there's a strong attraction. And this time, in this slow meeting, in this friendly meeting, I could see after some time the same patterns coming up of me wanting something very badly. But this time, before there was any sexual meeting, before there was any, like, I could just trace this, like, hey, but do you really want this too? Can you tell me that you want me to stay longer? Or are you kind of neutral? And I could feel this little girl that had been playing out when I was 17 so strongly, of like, I really need him to want me, like, otherwise I'm not going to be okay. And to just be aware of that voice now and say, I'm going to be okay. And to tell him, then I think I need to go now, if you can't tell me that you would really like me to stay longer. And I felt so much grief. You heard me in the voice message. I was really crying my eyes out on the way back, and it wasn't for this time, it was for the first time. And it really felt like a rescripting, and I was just so lucky that I could do this with the same person and now talk with an adult man that was being really honest and vulnerable too. And of course that's not always possible to rescript with, I don't know, is it your parents, is it your grandparents, is it whoever you experience something with, to do it with them and have
and
their
to be
willingness.
brave enough to want to do it with that person.
Yeah, because it gets really, really real.
You're a very brave player in life.
I think we both are. I think we love it too. Or?
Yeah.
I feel really met in the desire, joy with you. Like how you made the name ceremony and how you made the valley blessing and your birthday.
It's like realizing that I can create spaces that feel really pleasurable for me. Like it's really hard to not do it when you tasted it a few times. Now I just want to have a birthday every month.
It's so different to think of like, okay, I want with those people, and what do I think this group wants? I've been feeling into how it is to create workshops and retreats from that place more. And of course that's different because I need to also feel a bit like, okay, what's needed and what have I heard is wanted, but then also what would I want, and like create from that place more. I think it feels complete for me.
This is such a nice couch to sit in with you.
Yeah.
Talk with some kind of audience.
Thank you so much for having this talk with me.
My pleasure. My pleasure.